Hey there teachers, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about the first small shift you could make in your classroom to start implementing the science of reading research into your classroom without feeling overwhelmed and all the feelings that go along with this. Because my goal is to help you make small shifts that create huge results within your classroom and with your students and their ability to read. So this is going to be an entire video series making these small shifts within your instruction that will reap huge benefits for your students. Now, if you haven't seen my first video called Shame on You Teachers, please watch that first to see where this is coming from. And shame on you, don't get worried. Shame on you is not what you think. So please watch the first video called Shame on You and then come on back to this first video in the series. This is going to probably be about a 10 video series to talk about small incremental changes that you could make in your classroom today or tomorrow that will help you start moving towards implementing the science of reading research into your classroom. So we're going to get started, all right? The first shift I would love for you to start thinking about and start implementing in your classroom is when you have students in kindergarten and first grade, you may even have students in second grade that are reading on a level A through F-ish. I say F-ish because we know that all children are different. So I hate being so finite in saying it has to be this level to this level. But those early readers, levels A through F-ish, I want you to, let's put those aside and let's just switch them out for decodable readers. Now, remember, what I'm trying to do is not overwhelm teachers with these changes, these incremental changes. I'm trying to make them doable little by little. We're going to do baby steps. We're going to do small incremental changes that are going to reap huge results until we're ready to go full on, all right? And that's what I'm here to help you with, small incremental changes. So again, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take all of those level readers from levels A through F-ish, and we are going to swap them out for decodable readers. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make a quick and easy swap that if you're teaching children how to read with books that are levels A through F-ish, I want you to swap them out for decodable readers, okay? Now, let's talk about the why. So, unfortunately, for some reason, balanced literacy has become synonymous with the 3 cueing systems. Now, was 3 cueing systems part of balanced literacy? Yes, it was. That's what they've been spouting forever. However, balanced literacy was so much more than just the 3 cueing system. So it kind of gets me all fired up a little bit. But let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about the 3 cueing systems. So when students are reading a leveled reader, let's say a level A reader, and they come across the word strawberry, which they very well could if there's a book about fruits that they're reading, a child that's reading on a level A will absolutely, positively not be able to read the word strawberry. They don't have the code. And when I say the code, meaning they don't understand all of the sounds in the English language, which there are 44 of them. So if they haven't learned all 44 sounds in the English language, they are not going to be able to adequately decode the word strawberry. So what do we do when we're a teacher and the child comes across the word strawberry? We move to the 3 cues. So the typical cues are, let's look at the picture. Of course, a child can look at that picture, see a strawberry in the picture and go, oh, hey, that's strawberry. And that's where this whole guessing comes from. That they're guessing the word strawberry because they looked at a picture clue in order to solve the word strawberry. They didn't decode it, right? They didn't even barely look at the word to decode the word strawberry. They looked at the picture and then said, oh, that's a strawberry. I know what a strawberry looks like. This must be strawberry. And that's where a lot of this contention is coming from about how the 3 cueing systems is harmful. So, okay. Let's take away that first prompt, which is look at the picture to figure out the word. Let's take that out of our vocabulary and let's switch it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to tell children to look at the word on the page. But we're not going to use books that are leveled books that have the word strawberry in it. We're going to use decodable books so we don't have to use that cue anymore. So let's get that cue. Let's look at the picture. Let's get that cue out of our vocabulary and change it for let's look at the word. But again, we're doing this with decodables now, not leveled readers, because decodables are exactly what the word decodable means. It means they can sound them out. They know the code being the English code, meaning the 44 sounds in the English language, in order to decode the books, in order to decode the words in the decodable book. However, decodable books they spiral in skills. So we want to start and we want a very explicit scope and sequence to get through all of the 44 sounds of the English language. It's not going to happen overnight, so we want to use decodable books. So first cue to get rid of is look at the picture. We no longer want that, and we won't need it if we're using decodable books. You won't need that cue anymore, which is great. Okay, the second cue is what word makes sense? What word would make sense there in that sentence? So if a child comes to a word in a leveled book that they don't know, sometimes our cue was, what word would make sense there? Now, I never really hated this cue because what that really means is, do you understand the context of the sentence? And in order to understand the context of a sentence, they have to be contextual readers, right? They're comprehending what they're reading. So I never hated that cue because I felt like being a contextual reader was really important, okay? However, we don't want them guessing what word makes sense there. We don't want that anymore. And the research says, make them focus on the word. So, okay, when they get to a word, now in a decodable, since we know we're not going to use a leveled reader, again, for levels A through F-ish, we know we're going to tell them to look at the word and let's start sounding out and decoding the letters or graphemes that are in that word, that are phonemes, which are sounds, and we're going to start sounding it out. So we're going to take away the cue. What word would make sense there? We're going to take it away, okay? We're not going to use that cue anymore. Now, the third cue typically was look at the first letter of the word and get your mouth ready to start saying it. Now, that's basically bringing in a beginning sound, but then it wasn't going to read the whole word. It wasn't going to start with the first sound and read through it. It was start with the first sound and look at the picture, what would make sense. It was kind of using all three cues together. So we want to get rid of that one. And now what we want to do is, again, use a decodable book, especially for students in levels A through F. And we want to tell them to look at the word. Let's get our mouths ready, and I want you to say the first sound in that word. Now go to the next letter. What sound does that letter make? Now go to the next letter. What sound does that letter make? That's how we want to cue or prompt our students when they come to a word we don't know. We want their eyes to stay on the words. That's what the science is telling us. So what the science is saying and what's happening all over social media right now is that the three cueing system is harmful for students. So I agree 95% of that. I do. So what we're going to do is we're going to change our prompts. We're going to say, we're not going to tell them to look at the picture. We're going to say focus on the word. We're going to tell them to look at that first letter and what sound does it make? Look at the second letter. What sound does the second letter make? Let's look at the third letter. What sound does that make? And of course, as students become more proficient in their reading and you're bringing in digraphs and blends and trigraphs and vowel teams, of course, that becomes more complex. But before you bring in those more complex sounds and skills in the 44 sounds of the English language, we have to be very explicit and very systematic in the way we introduce the sounds to students. So if you need a scope and sequence that's explicit and systematic and you don't have one, I absolutely have one for free that you can have. All you got to do is go to Guided Readers, scroll down a little bit, and download our Structured Literacy with Ease program. Download it. Download the Structured Literacy with Ease program, and there's an incredible, very systematic and explicit scope and sequence that you can use in your classroom without buying a thing. It's free. You can have it. I want to help teachers make an easy transition and start implementing these small little changes in our classrooms that will change into huge gains for our students. So go over guided readers, scroll down a little bit. There's our Structured Literacy with Ease, Scope and Sequence. Download it. Start using it. Okay, start using the sequence, all right? So this video is all about the first shift you can make, and what that is get rid of your leveled readers from levels A through F and change them out for decodable books. That's the first small shift you can make towards implementing the science. I am all about small incremental changes, because if we want teachers to change everything in their classrooms that they've been doing for 5, 10, 15, and 20 years, we're not going to get buy-in. I want you to buy into this, but I want you to do it in such a way that doesn't overwhelm you more than you already are, because we all know teachers are overwhelmed. And that's my goal, to help you implement the research, the science of reading research, intentionally, methodically, slowly, right? So we don't feel overwhelmed, because you're too overwhelmed as it is. So shift number 1, switch out your leveled readers that are levels A through F-ish and move to decodable readers. Now, if you don't have decodable readers, a couple of different things you could do. There are tons of decodable readers online, tons of them. You could find them everywhere. I have over 300 decodable readers and guided readers, and it's not expensive. I kept guided readers as inexpensive as possible, because my goal and mission in life is to help children, teach kids how to read. It's been my goal for the last 30 years of my life, and I stick by it. That's our mission at Guided Readers. Help teachers teach children how to read and love to read. And I will stick by that forever, because that's our mission. So if you need decodables, you don't have them, and your district isn't going to buy you anything, check out Guided Readers. It's very inexpensive. If you want books to handle and touch, and they're beautifully done, right? And you don't have to print them out, you can absolutely buy our decodable readers if you've got school funds through a purchase order, or you can go onto Amazon, and we have all of our developing decoders on Amazon. Again, I want to make this easy for you without spending a ton of money. So you can join Guided Readers for a very low price and get 300 decodable readers at your disposal, okay? That's all you need to do. So first shift, switch out your levels A through F, leveled readers, and move to decodables. That's the first shift that we're going to do, okay? Now, are level readers bad? Absolutely not. Don't let anybody tell you that. They are not bad. They are just books. A leveled reader is just a book. But what the science is telling us is that the books that we're reading with our beginning readers need to start with decodable readers. And I agree. Now, have I always done that in my classroom? No, not always. But know better, do better, move through the research, learn it, implement it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make small incremental changes together towards implementing the science without feeling overwhelmed. That's the goal. So this is video 1. What I want to very quickly do is just give you a super quick demonstration. So this is called Pat the Rat. They're focusing on the short A sound, and many, they're going to use at as the phonogram that they're going to focus on in this particular story. So as you can see in the first line, it says, "This is a home for Pat." Now, many SOR advocates and research will say, this is not a decodable book. And the reason why they'll say that is because the word home is on this page, and maybe even the word for, because home is a CVCE word. However, it is a regular word, and the word for is a high frequency word. So let's talk about how to combat this. Number 1, children need a strong foundation of high frequency words, because they can't read books, even decodables, without some knowledge of high frequency words. They just won't be able to. So we've got to give them a foundation and a bank of high frequency words that they know, so then they can read decodable books. However, we're not going to do that through memorization. We're going to do it very systematically and very intentionally, and we're going to pull high frequency words, and we're going to explicitly teach children the code to sound out those high frequency words. many. I don't know the exact number, that there's a list of 109 most frequently used high frequency words in children's books, and only 33 of the 109 words have one part that has an irregular sound. So that means almost 80%, 85% really, of these 109 words are actually decodable. But they might not have the knowledge base yet of that phoneme or all the phonemes in the English language, which there are 44 of, in order to be able to decode the word. So it's our job to teach them. So if I was doing this book with one of my students and the first sentence is, "This is a home for Pat," I have already taught this as a high frequency word, and I've already explicitly taught it, not through memorization. I taught it through phoneme grapheme mapping, 100%. Now the word home, now they might look at the picture. And they might start with, so what I would do with the word home is I'd say, boys and girls, let's look at that word home. Look at the word, not the picture. Let's talk about what that word is. What's that first letter? It's an H. What sound does H make? They already know what letter sound H makes. Okay, now we have the letter O here. What sound does M make? What sound does it make? Good. M makes the sound. And at the end of that word is the letter E. So I'm going to write, now I'm going to say, boys and girls, we know H and we know M. So we have and we have Now, you know what that letter O is? It says the O sound. Watch me. O, home. Do it with me. O, home. And you're probably looking at that E and you're saying, hey, E says S sometimes, or E. Yes, it does. But in this word, home, this is silent because this is called the magic E rule, which we're going to learn about. You haven't learned it yet, but you will. This is planting the seed for what is to come, and I am okay with it because I believe a decodable book has to be 95 to 98% decodable in order to call it a decodable book. So will you find a few words in a book that maybe they don't know the code for yet? Yep. Do this. It's pretty simple. It's a very quick little tiny mini lesson that plants the seed of what's to come, and I think that's important. I think it's important. So Pat is a rat. They can do that. They've already learned A. And it's a schwa in the word Pat is a rat. Because typically when the word A is in a sentence, we say it as a schwa sound. So again, that's something I've already taught. Pat is a fat rat. Pat the fat rat sat. They can do all that. Yes. Is it fun? Is it juicy? Is it meaty? Not really. But we'll get there. He sat on the mat. Okay, we know he sat on the mat. We know rat's the character. We know that we could talk about the setting. Where is he? Oh, he's in some kind of home. He's in a home, it told us. And then we meet Matt. There's Matt. Matt's a cat. So we're looking at Matt the cat. He sees Pat. Uh-oh, what's going to happen? What do you think will happen in this story? Add some inferencing skills. This is how you add rigor to a decodable reader. Ask a question. Oh boy, there's a rat and there's a cat. What do you think is going to happen? Make an inference. Add those comprehension skills in. Pat ran from the cat. Now there's the word from. Now from is a high frequency word. It's also an irregular word because O has the schwa sound. So this is, again, either you do it in a foundational lesson where you're introducing the word from and you're going to map it. You're going to map it because from is considered a heart word because from has a schwa. So the only part in the word from that is irregular is that O because it has the sound, which is the schwa. So map it with your students or do it before in another lesson before you introduce this. F, R, and M all follow the code. The only part that is a hard part or heart part is the O because it doesn't say it says It's a schwa. To be honest, many different places in the country, we have actually, our accents are a little bit different, so that can affect it as well. All right, then we've got Pat ran under a hat. There's under. Okay, in order for them to know that word under, they might look at the picture, right? We don't want them to look at the picture and we're going to say, boys and girls, that's a tough word. That's a tough word. So this is what I'm talking about. And some advocates might say that is not a decodable book. That does not follow an explicit scope and sequence. Now, under, I get it, but it's not irregular. It's just a harder word. It's also a 2-syllable word, right? But I believe some of these words we need to add into decodables because we need to get some meat in our stories. So do some direct instruction. Don't tell them to look at the picture. Say, well, what do you think that first letter is? U. What sound does U make? Oh, good. Okay, what's the next letter? N. What sound does N make? N. Un. Oh, un. Okay. What's the next letter? D. What sound does D make? D. So we have und. Okay, und. And then we have ER. You know what ER is? ER is a bossy R. And you know what sound it makes? It makes Can you say that? So we have und, Oh, it's under. Okay, I believe this is good teaching. Some SOR advocates will say this is not a decodable book, but I believe 95 to 98% of decodable books should be decodable. And then you're planting the seeds and teaching them how to attack words they don't know. That's the goal. How to attack the words. Don't look at the picture, look at the word. Don't look at the picture, look at the word and attack it. Start with the letters and the sounds in the word. That's what I'm saying. So when you're using decodable readers and you come to words that either may not be decodable or they don't know the code yet, not that it's not decodable, maybe they don't know the code yet for it because they haven't learned those more complex sounds like the R-controlled ER at the end there. But the first 3 sounds are regular and they should know. N, D. They've got those letters. Okay, so just do a quick little, do you know what ER says? It says It's actually a bossy R. It's an R-controlled sound. It doesn't say it says Teach them. Plant the seeds for what's to come. We want to expose them to words like this. We want them to master the code and start exposing them a little at a time to words that they haven't learned the code for yet. That's what I believe. I also believe that gives us a little bit more juice and meat in a decodable book. So that's it for me today. That is the first tiny little shift we could make in your instruction right now, today, or tomorrow. Take out those leveled readers that are levels A through F-ish, and then move those to using some decodable readers. You can find them on guided readers. You could find them online in many, many places. Focus on using decodables for those students that are just learning the code. And leveled readers are still just books, but we're not going to use them until students have mastered the code. Okay? That's it for me today, my friends. Please share this video out with your friends. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. I would love to have you here because I've got 9 more videos that I cannot wait to share with you. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for your time today. Let's make some slow changes to start implementing the science in our reading instruction. Bye for now.